Hey everyone, and welcome to April's edition of Board Game Buys. So this is a series where I talk about all the board games I picked up during the last 30 days or so, just to give you an idea about what you can expect to see on the channel in the next few months. So first up, I have Splitter, which is a very small box, simple roll and write style game. As each round you're rolling a pair of dice, and depending on what you've rolled, you're going to write those numbers on this sheet. But bearing in mind that down the middle of that sheet, you've got this kind of mirror line. So you have to place the numbers on opposite kind of symmetrical ways. So if I rolled a 4 and a 3, if I put the 4 here, I'd have to put the 3 on the opposite side in the same place, which I think is a really novel concept, very simple and easy to understand. And this one has really grabbed me, and I'm going to leave it at that without offering too many spoilers because I will be looking at reviewing this one soon. But that is Splitter. Also was given a prototype copy, but I think the actual one now is out, the actual proper retail version of Immuno Wars. So this is a kind of a dueling style game based on, I suppose, kind of infecting each other with viruses and diseases. And then you're playing like these cards to try and cure yourself and things, and this equipment to increase your health. And it's basically just a war to try and knock each other's health down. But most of the kind of attacks in this game are based on the kind of damage over time idea, so you are slowly kind of eroding away at your health rather than just hitting each other really hard at once. Normally these kind of games don't do it for me, and I will be completely upfront and say this one is probably another example of that. But I think I'll probably give it another few more plays before I cement my feelings on it, because I was very kindly offered a prototype version of this one, and I wanted to give it my best effort at least before I cement my final thoughts in place. But that is Immuno Wars. Maybe if you like dueling style games, that one could be one to look at. Also picked up an older game with Sealand. So this is a co-design with one of the designers being Wolfgang Kramer, who's one of my favourite designers ever. I think he's brilliant. This one is I think this is a foreign language one. I don't have the English, the actual English copy here, but I've got English rules inside. I don't know a tremendous amount about this one, except that you have this rondel system as you're drafting these hex tiles. And I think the idea is that you're trying to put these windmills on the board and then surround them with these hexes to score points in different ways. But you have this rondel system where you can end up spending money and things, and that relates to what the other people's position is on the rondel. So, I'm pretty much always just sold on a game if it has Kramer's name on it. I've never really played a bad game by him. And I've heard that this is a solid game that's massively overlooked, and people who do like this game tend to really enjoy it and see it as criminally underrated. So hopefully that is true, but I'm looking to see if that is true and to make my own mind up on it. So that is Sealand. Also, my brother picked up a copy of Dragon's Gate College. This is by NSKN, who are the modern day Board and Dice, and this is a dice drafting game. So you are drafting these dice from this hourglass here, and I think the mechanism in this game, what makes it different is that you can use these neutral dice to take different actions, but you can also use other people's dice, but they get a follow-up action for doing that as well, or they get to use it if you choose their colour and their pip value. So that's quite interesting. And then you have this little game going on your mini board here where you're training up these recruits and sending them off to get points in different ways. So, I think Board and Dice do a good job of quality control. They tend to make good choices about what they're going to publish. And this one is one of those games that isn't really talked about. It's not very famous or popular, but that doesn't mean it's not a good game, and I'm willing to give it a shot. And I love dice drafting, but this one is going to have some very stiff competition. That is Dragon's Gate College. Also picked up a copy of Vikings, which is a game I've been after for a long time actually. So this is considered a bit of a classic by Michael Kiesling, very much out of print, but I did manage to track a copy down. I've actually got very high hopes for this game. Another game that uses almost like a rondel system or a dual drafting system, where when you're drafting these tiles, you are drafting them in pair with these coloured meeples. And then you're building up this little kind of rows and columns of these different islands, and they all score, all these different Vikings score in different ways, but these invading ships come and can potentially nullify some of the points you're scoring. It sounds interesting, and it sounds like it's got some things, or other games have been inspired by what goes on in this one. So I see a little bit of Miyabi going on in this game, and also some other games as well by Kiesling. So this one could be another good one. I know it is highly rated, so again, very quietly confident I'm going to enjoy this one. That is Vikings. Also picked up a copy of the Game of 49. So this, it looks like a massively mass-produced cheap game, and it does kind of feel like that. But this is a bidding style game where you're trying to connect four. So it's like Connect Four, but you're bidding for the spots themselves. So if you're the blue player here, and you really need this 28 in order to get this group of 4 in a column, then you're going to win the game. But obviously other people are going to be trying to outbid you. And that's a really cool concept. I have played this one, so again, I want to play it a few more times before I get my thoughts in order. But I do like the concept of it, and I know some people do like it, and it has been around for quite some time in different kind of iterations. But I'll leave it at that as well. That is the Game of 49. I was also given a kind of a prototype version of Sharts. So this one doesn't look too appealing. This is a kind of a war Euro economic game, and the designer, who's a very nice chap, describes this as Game of Thrones mixed with Agricola, and that appeals to me. I haven't really given this one a good look, and I probably deserve, or the designer here deserves me to give it a bit more attention than I have done up to this point. But there's quite a lot going on here. There's a few things that you have to kind of tailor to your style of gameplay. So it's not like there's a concrete set of rules that you are supposed to play with. It kind of says if you want to play the advanced one, you can use these. If you don't, you can use these. If you want to play a simple role version of the game, you can use these. And that for me is feeling a little bit overwhelming at the moment. I just want a clean set of rules to say use these rules. And on top of that, the rules provided with it aren't the clearest, because I don't think they had I don't think it was professionally translated, which could be a bit of a speed bump to get this one to the table for me. But the designer certainly seems to put a lot of work into this one. He has a lot of faith in his product, and I know he is going to be launching this one later in the year with a new polished version with professional artwork and things, rather than this more kind of prototype version. But interested, to say the least, and I just need to again invest that time and maybe get over that badly translated rulebook to get this one to the table, and at least to try some things out. But that is Sharts. I'm sure you haven't heard of that one. I also picked up a copy of First Rat. So this one is getting a bit of buzz at the moment. So this is a pretty simple family weight racing style game. And one of the main reasons this one appealed to me is because a co-designer is Virginio Gili, who I adore. I think he's one of the best designers out there. So again, very big reason why this one came into my collection. But this one, you are basically controlling these sets of rats, and you are going up this track, and there's certain restrictions where if you move on to a spot with someone else, you have to pay them cheese, which is like the currency in the game, or you can move two at once, but they have to end on the same colour. And then basically, as you're going up this track, you have the option to buy these kind of engine benefits and things like that. And you also you've got all these different scoring criteria that go on throughout the game, such as dedicating resources, or being the first person onto the ship, you get more points. So it's got quite a few conflicting things you need to manage, but it sounds pretty fun. I know it's supposed to be quick, and that family weight game I've not really seen explored by Virginio Gili. Love the artwork, kind of love the theme and setting. So again, high hopes for First Rat. Seems to be getting a lot of praise at the moment, and I'm excited to try it. Speaking of another very recent game, this is Millefiori. I've actually already reviewed this one, so I'm not going to be shy about sharing my thoughts. So this one is a point salad-y style game by Dr. Rainer Knizia, but this one uses a drafting system where you're playing all these different mini games and basically compounding points no matter what you do. So you're basically trying to create these change of your colour, and each time you do that, you're getting an additional point, or you want to get all the different colours and get even a big injection of points, or get all your things in a row here and get more and more points. So it really is a point salad. You get points for doing everything in this game, and I'm really digging this one at the moment. It got my should have quality, and it's even crept up since then. I'm getting a higher rank for me, so I think it's fantastic. And if Knizia keeps doing what he's doing, then he's on the right path for me, and it's good to see him making some bigger games rather than just kind of smaller reiterations of his older games. But yeah, that is Millefiori. Definitely check out my review for that one if you want some simple but engaging fun. I was also very kindly offered a wooden jigsaw puzzle by Wooden City. They make these very cool handmade puzzles where The puzzle itself is made up of these kind of individual shapes, so that's quite cool. These are the actual puzzle pieces, and while I don't normally cover puzzles on my channel, I do enjoy them, and I do consider them somewhat adjacent to board gaming, so maybe I will give this one a bit of a spotlight, just see how this one plays out and how it works. But yeah, these are quite nice. It's quite a charming product, and I'll make a short video just on how I did enjoy doing this puzzle and how the kind of production and how it fits together. That'd be quite nice. So that is this is the Mystic Tiger one I think I was giving out. The Mystic Tiger puzzle by Wooden City. Also, a Kickstarter arrived in the form of Mob Big Apple. So this is by Dr. Steve Finn, who is most famously known for designing Biblios, a game that is utterly brilliant. I think maybe he's never going to live up to those expectations of Biblios again because it's that good. But this one is another 2-player only game, as you are fighting, basically taking control of these mobsters, and you're trying to fight over these different regions, I suppose. And you're doing that by rolling dice, and then you've got all these different kind of worker placement spots which accompany taking actions, and then they're going to let you kind of manipulate the board and things. It's quite cutthroat. It's quite opaque in the way it plays, so you can clearly see what you're going to do. There's not that much luck apart from one factor when you are rolling those dice, but you can clearly work out the way things are going to work. But that is Mob the Big Apple. I've played it once, but again I need to play it more before I get my thoughts in order. One of the game I'm most excited about playing is Bear Raid. This one is designed by Ryan Courtney, who recently designed Pipeline and Curious Cargo. This one is another economic style game. Despite looking like this on the cover, it doesn't look like an economic game. But this one has a very streamlined set of rules, and it almost reminded me like a Knizia style game. As you have all these different companies here, and basically all you're trying to do in the game is you're trying to buy shares when they're low, sell them when they're high, and there's some other little wrinkles as well. Now, I haven't read the rules in any depth yet, but the rules are literally like, I think it's like a leaflet with 2, 3 or 4 pages. So it's not very big, there's not much going on here, and it seems like an elegant set of rules, which is always a good thing for me when I play so many different games. But it does look like it's quite tactically rich, and there's a lot going on here that you need to think about. And those games seem to be a hit for me. So very excited to try Bear Raid once I have that right group of players and that right player count. Also, another game I've already reviewed. This one is Cascadia, a game I've been after since all the buzz really did kick off about this one. This is a tile placement game, as you are trying to draft not only these tiles to build up this big environment and try to match up all the different terrain types, but it's also a puzzly style game as you put these animal tokens on them, trying to create these different ways to score points and like sliding scale bonuses and stuff. Lovely family game. Again, I reviewed this one already. I reviewed it very positively, received my share of quality, and this one's been hitting the table ever since. So I really do enjoy this one. That is Cascadia. On to the last 3 games then. First off is Lancelot. So I remember looking at this one a few years ago. I don't know why I never really pulled the trigger on it, but my brother picked this one up. And this one, I love Arthurian Legends. It's one of my favourite themes in games. And this one is a kind of a Euro game, I suppose, as you are moving around this track in a point-to-point movement style way, maybe reaching these different actions as you go to collect weapons, to collect these potions, maybe trade in the weapons to fight these dragons, and get points as you can by fulfilling these objectives on this public sheet here. One thing I do like about this game is that when you get back to the centre here, the round table, you can kind of invest in these different actions to go to make it better for you. But if somebody goes after you, they can kind of knock it back to their colour and make it better for them. So yeah, I have played this one as well, and again, review to be released relatively shortly. So that is Lancelot. Penultimately, I have Steamworks, another game that was picked up by my brother. I didn't know too much about this one before, looking at it after we had it in the collection. This one is by TMG, who are now out of business, I believe. And this one actually does sound quite appealing to me, as you're trying to build up this network of tiles. And some of these tiles are like the power sources, and then they will trigger other tiles, and you can create these engines of generating points and things. Sounds good, and there's a ton of variation in there as well. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this one works. Hopefully it's pretty smooth and clean. The 90 to 120 minutes is a bit of a concern for me, but sometimes that doesn't have to be the case. and we shall see how that one plays out. I don't really hear anybody talking about this one. Again, I didn't know much about it at all before I ended up having it in my shelf. That is Steamworks. And the final new board game buy for this month is another game picked up by my brother. This is Favour of the Pharaoh, and by Tom Lehman, actually, who famously designed Race for the Galaxy or Roll for the Galaxy, and also Res Arcana. This one is a much lighter affair by Bezier Games, and this is kind of like a Yahtzee variant, as you're rolling these dice and then generating a bit of an engine by creating these or picking up these other tiles here or cards, and they will give you like mitigation tools and things. So you're trying to like build different things, like having a 3 of a kind or a pair, and as you collect more and more dice and lock them in place, you probably have more potential to collect the more difficult ones to get, and you're basically trying to gain the favour of the Pharaoh, I think, by rolling the best amount at the end using all those mitigation tools. So I think there's a ton of variability here, loads of things to try, so every game's going to be different. And I do tend to like just pure clean dice chucking games, but the problem is I do have quite a few of them now. I don't know if I need so many, and hopefully this one's going to be better than the other one, so therefore we could maybe cull a few. But we shall see, because again, I only want the best of each type of game rather than have a bunch of the same type. But that is Favour of the Pharaoh by Tom Lehman. Actually, quietly looking forward to that one. So there we go, really, that is all the games that I picked up this month. So hopefully there's something here that's piqued your interest, because this is what's going to be talked about in the upcoming months, amongst obviously a bunch of other stuff as well. So there we go. Again, if you have enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe to the channel, and check out my other videos too. And for everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye now.